Part 2, 3 Days to Animal. Snapshot 1 of 3, Activist. Camille Cohen, a social ecology major at UC Irvine, has always questioned authority. She looks for ways to speak out and to make a change in her community and her government. She's long known that the water crisis would happen, and she blames county officials for not only ignoring the problem, but working to hide it or to act like it just doesn't exist. Before the tap-out even happened, she led a protest, and many people from her college showed up at the county government offices in Santa Ana to make their voices heard. Enraged by the sight of a city truck carrying 10-gallon jugs of contraband water she believes will be delivered to privileged individuals and not shared with thirsty citizens, Camille decides to take real action and follow the truck. Snapshot 2 of 3, OCWD Transport. David Chen works for the Orange County Water District. He's driving a truck full of 10-gallon jugs of drinking water that will be delivered to the Huntington Beach power plant, where workers for the Applied Energy Services and Southern California Edison employees have made an unofficial refugee camp. Riding with David is an armed guard wearing a bulletproof vest. The guard has given David his own bulletproof vest to wear just in case. David's nerves and anxiety have increased throughout the day, and this delivery of water is the third of the day. Earlier, he took the water that had been used in a swimming pool to Camp Pendleton Marine Base. The water he's transporting now is reclaimed water that was in the sewer system, but that's been treated for public use. Even though it's not meant to be drunk, David's pretty sure whoever gets it will drink it. David has also stashed one of the 10-gallon bottles for his own family. He figures it's owed to him after all of the stress he's been through. After he pulls off the highway to head towards the plant, he sees a young woman standing in the middle of the road, blocking the way. And not too far off the road is a crowd of angry people who have been waiting for the desalination machines. The crowd notices the water. Snapshot 3 of 3, Plant Manager. Pete Flores manages the Huntington Beach Power Plant, a job he loves and does with pride. He's allowed his employees and their families, along with employees of other electrical agencies and their families, refuge behind the gates of the power plant. Pete has done this even though he knows the higher-ups would not allow it. He doesn't care if allowing people to stay there might cost him his job. Sometimes you have to put yourself on the line to be the hero. And because the power plant is a critical water priority, Pete and his refugees are guaranteed a food and water delivery, something that certainly explains why so many employees have gathered at the plant. Knowing that he can take care of people makes Pete feel powerful. His plant is also the only one still performing, probably because he's allowed his workers to bring their families. Even more justification for breaking the rules. As the water truck approaches, the one Pete and his workers have been waiting for all day, Pete sees that a crowd has gathered, both at the gates of the plant and surrounding the truck. And then the crowd goes angry, smashing the windows of the truck and stealing bottles of water. The security guard emerges from the passenger seat, gripping a shotgun in his hands. He fires a warning shot in the air, but soon the angry crowd overtakes him, taking his gun. The mob swells, and as someone in the plant frantically tries to call 911, the gates to the plant suddenly give way, and the crowd rushes into the plant. 7. Kelton. Kelton's family eats a tense dinner. His mother obviously upset over the confrontation his dad had with Malachi. She questions why they don't share their resources with the neighbors, especially if the family is going to end up at the bug out. How will they be able to face everyone after all of this is over if they don't share, she asks. Kelton's father reminds her that the family must survive if they want there to be an after, and that he's done a lot to show their friends and neighbors tools and methods to help with their own survival. If they start just handing out resources to other people, there will be no left for them. The tension is deepened by the fact that still no one has heard from Brady. Brady's relationship with their parents has been strained since he gave up the opportunity to attend Stanford, moving out and getting a job at GameStop instead, rarely coming home. Kelton recognizes that Brady was afraid to disappoint his parents or fail. Avoiding the situation altogether was just easier for him. Despite being estranged, Kelton knows his dad still loves Brady, leaving a key hidden for him should he ever want to come home. Kelton leaves his house, his father working on a booby trap for the house, and heads over to Alyssa and Garrett's on the back porch. Alyssa is worried that she hasn't heard from her parents. Kelton continues to use his skills and knowledge to impress Alyssa, but she's not interested, although she does tell him she doesn't think he's just the creepy guy next door any longer. Then the lights go out. Because both Garrett and Alyssa are frightened by the blackout, Alyssa relents and asks Kelton to stay. He agrees, but first he wants to go back and check on his parents. He walks back home, appreciating the fact that his house is the only one in the neighborhood with the light still on, and goes up to his bedroom to retrieve his handgun. As he heads back to Alyssa's, he's suddenly confronted by an eerie feeling. 8. Alyssa. When Alyssa wakes the next morning, she's disturbed to not only find that her parents still haven't returned home, but that Kelton has brought a gun with him as well. He assures her that the bullets are in his pocket, but she's still uneasy, making him hand over the magazine for her to keep. She, Garrett, and Kelton gather supplies and head out on their bikes to try and find her parents at the beach. On their way, they see a gridlocked highway jammed with cars trying to head out of the city. When the trio stops at a convenience store so Garrett can go to the bathroom, they find the store to be ransacked, the coolers and shelves mostly empty. When the man behind the register charges them $40 for a bag of peanuts, Alyssa realizes that he is not the regular clerk who works the store. The trio runs out, and Alyssa now knows that the gun Kelton has might be necessary for protection. She gives the bullets back to Kelton. Snapshot. Interstate northbound, 6:30 a.m. Charity finds herself stuck on the highway, daughter and grandkids. She notices that people have tried to turn around on the highway and go back in the wrong direction, something that's only added to the gridlock and confusion on the highway. Charity is a kind and helpful person, always willing to lend a hand to whoever needs it. Traffic at a standstill, Charity turns off her car and nods off. She's suddenly awakened by screaming, and she sees people abandoning their cars, running down the highway. A car is on fire. Instead of running away, Charity looks for a fire extinguisher in the abandoned cars. She finds one in an electrician's van and heads toward the blazing car.